Hey, it's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you have to check out the fastest rising podcast in all of professional wrestling. I'm talking about the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. If you're looking for pay-per-view predictions, if you're looking for pay-per-view reviews, if you're looking for interviews, check out the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. Crash and Burn!
Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Crash and Burn, which is our review on WWE Great Balls of Fire here on the fastest wrestling podcast in all of professional wrestling. Well, I don't know how to feel about this name, but it's Great Balls of Fire. Took place on July 9th, 2017 at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. I'm just reading off information from Wikipedia. But there's 9 matches, and yeah, I'm gonna shut up and bring in Wyatt.
Yes, happy Saturday, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. This pay-per-view was actually originally going to be Bad Blood, but no, it was not PG enough to call it Bad Blood. You had to think of another name. So
WWE is so PG.
Great Balls of Fire. Well, it's the PG era. PG products don't very well. So, Great Balls of Fire. There wasn't nothing sexual to the pay-per-view, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a very decent pay-per-view.
A decent one,
It was
for sure.
Pay-per-view, solid matches. But,
And it's not, and
if you want to get the card rolling, and
this is not Hell in a Cell
back
2019, but anyways, as I was saying, this is not Hell in a Cell 2019. AJ happens to be not available here, unfortunately, but next week he'll be ranting a lot. Next time on Crash and Burn. Not much for the Moshcast, but mainly Crash and Burn because he thinks some things that had happened recently are issues to him. And yes, I'm saying
You should have saw his reaction on the draft last night, which we will get to that Friday.
from the draft. It's something about the New Day. That's all I'll say right now.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that one. But nonetheless, this is Great Balls of Fire. Right here on the Fast Rising Podcast, Crash and Burn. Professional wrestling, let's go.
Alright, first match.
Pac defeated Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight title.
I remember watching this match. I knew Tozawa was an inch close to getting that title. I mean, the only time Tozawa was good is when he was paired up with Titus. That was the only time Tozawa was ever good, in my opinion, because Tozawa worked well with Titus and Apollo, which barely lasted. But, Neville was going to take the win anyways until an episode of Raw. Tozawa beat Neville for the title, and then Neville won it back at SummerSlam. But that was leading to that. But all I'm gonna say is, the match was pretty alright. It was on the pre-show. The cruiserweights were part of the Raw deal there, so we're gonna have cruiserweights. We haven't, as of that, not much to say.
Okay, at this time was when 205 Live was actually really good. Now 205 Live just changed a lot.
205 was only good when Enzo was there.
Yeah. But at this time, for me, I at least enjoyed 205 Live. This time I was watching it every week after SmackDown. But for this match, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed the feud between these two. And yeah, as you said, Sal, good storytelling. Yeah. So this was a pretty good pre-show match, just to get the crowd watching at home hyped up. Anyways, power goes off, Great Balls of Fire begins. In American Airlines Center in Dallas. let's ring the frickin' bell. Kicking it off with Bray Wyatt defeated Seth Rollins. Go ahead.
Wow. I thought that match, I have no negative comments towards that match. I mean, I thought the match was very well played. I mean, them two really put it on. I mean, Rollins and Bray, I had a very forgettable rivalry that year. I forgot they even feuded in the first place. But as of that, this was like right before it was when Seth and Dean were gonna go for the tag titles. But I mean, Seth and Bray really put on a really good match. Not much to say here. I know the way the match ended was Bray Wyatt, with the ref not looking, Bray Wyatt pokes Rollins in the eye with the thumb, and then Bray hits the Sister Abigail, and then Bray Wyatt picks up the win. But I mean, Bray Wyatt was the eater of worlds at the time, so I think the right person.
Oh, yeah, that gimmick.
But
Yeah.
I Bray Wyatt. But all I know is if he gets to go to AEW, he's leading the Dark Order.
Yeah, I'm down to see him
I'm
there
sorry.
in case he goes. If he goes, I'm down to see him there in AEW.
He's gonna go. He's leading the Dark Order. But this is an AEW pay-per-view because if AJ was on here, AEW conversation will never stop.
Yes, stay tuned for his ranting week on the podcast, but not for the Moshcast. It's only for Crash and Burn for this case.
Yeah, we're not even mentioning the Moshcast.
Yeah, but this is not the Moshcast. This is Crash and Burn. Let's keep going, shall we?
Yeah, let's keep going.
So for this
What
match,
were your thoughts on the match?
I guess it was a solid way to start the show. I remember seeing this match on the network, which was back when it was down on Peacock. So I guess it was solid to kick off the show. Not too bad here.
Cool.
Anyways, this next match, Big Cass defeated Enzo Amore. Now this was shortly after Big Cass turned on Enzo. You're shaking your head no, so why is that? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna rant. I am going to rant. They should have never split up Cass and Enzo because if it wasn't for Enzo, there would be no Cass. If there was no Cass, there'd be no Enzo. Crime Time's another example of a tag team that never broke up. Like both of those tag teams, true to fans. But this is about Enzo and Cass. Big Cass turns on Enzo. Enzo was never going to rise as a single star. Enzo was going to fail. That's why we were either going to put him on 205 or NXT because Enzo was never going to rise as a single star. Cass could have, but they fucked it up because Cass having his injury and then his mental health and Cass returns, loses to Daniel Bryan twice, he's out the door. Enzo and Cass should have never broken up. Cass turning on Enzo was a huge mistake because it ruined Cass, it ruined Enzo. The only Enzo is better at the main roster. Enzo was falling when he was in 205. Enzo was the reason why 205 Live was entertaining. When Enzo was going from 205 Live was more like 205 lame.
You're right on that one.
Enzo, this match was just sad. That, of course,
I kind of knew it was going to be a short one.
Cass, if they were really going to have Cass be a rising star, they could have made him like a top mid-carder. Cass had a lot of potential and strength, but Cass couldn't do it without Enzo. Enzo couldn't do it without Cass. And for them two to split up, it took them 6 months to a year to get them both out of WWE. Enzo to the allegations, Cass due to his behavior, and so forth. All I'm going to say is that tag team should have never broken up. Because Enzo was going to fall apart as a single star because Enzo needed Cass if he was going to rise. Cass was going to need Enzo if he was going to rise.
Yeah, you're right on that one. These two superstars, they should have never split up the tag team.
I think they tried to make Enzo and Big Show a tag team at one point, which was never going to work. But he was only going to do it for backup for Enzo because Enzo was never going to beat Cass in a match.
Right. I completely forgot that was going to happen. Enzo and Big Show.
I mean, basically, Enzo comes out cutting a promo, talking about a song called Life, about Cass turning on him. Big Cass comes out, squash match.
All I'm gonna say is this was a squash match. I kind of knew it was gonna be the second shortest match of the event, but
Okay.
all I'm gonna say is they need each other to become huge stars in the business.
Mm-hmm.
They need each other. Them breaking up, that was a big mistake for those two and for the company.
Yeah. And Enzo and Cass are actually still friends in real life. So.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is like, they should have stayed as a tag team because
Cass's injury really fucked over his career. His run in WWE.
Yes, breaking up the tag team is another thing that ruined their careers too.
Mm-hmm. I think we've ran it enough here. What's the next match?
This was an Iron Man match. Cesaro and Sheamus defeated the Hardy Boys. How do you feel about this match?
I thought it was pretty good of a match. I mean, the Iron Man match, I think they really killed it. I think both teams really killed it. Before I do a little bit of ranting here, I mean, what do you have? The Hardy Boys score. The Bar scores the first fall. Sheamus bro kicks Matt Hardy the first few seconds of the match. You have the Bar make another point, as when Sheamus hits the white noise and Cesaro hits the elbow drop, pins Hardy. Jeff gets a twist to fade Cesaro. Hardy Boys score a fall, and Jeff Hardy does a leg drop on Cesaro's legs, pins him, scores another fall, and I think the Bar did another fall when Cesaro just pinned Jeff Hardy when Jeff Hardy swanton Sheamus, and Cesaro pins Hardy because Cesaro was the legal man, and the Hardys were this close to winning those tag titles. I mean, it would have worked if the Hardys won the tag titles back, but no. Ever since the Hardy Boys returned, the fans were gonna want Matt Hardy to bring that broken character. Ever since the Hardy Boys were back, they wanted that broken character. But Jeff got injured, and you got it. So.
Yeah.
I mean, let me think. I mean, and after the match, you saw Matt Hardy having blood on the side of his face, which I think they really put it on there. And I'm gonna tell you, I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus were a really good tag team as the Bar. The Bar really was good, but it made Sheamus turn into a joke when you have him trying to have him and Cesaro trying to be wannabes of Rowdy Roddy Piper wearing those kills. That made Sheamus turn into a hobo. Him and Cesaro were a good tag team, but them doing that, no.
Mm-hmm.
And that mohawk getting bigger, and bigger made Sheamus look even more stupid. But Sheamus looks a lot better now, so bear with me.
Yeah. Alright, so for this match, I guess it was a pretty good match. One of the matches of the night. Good.
What do you remember about that match?
Okay, so from when I was watching this, I guess the Hardy Boys were close to becoming the Raw Tag Team Champions again, but then that timer went off when they were about to hit 3.
Yes. It was supposed to be close to a tie.
Now I wanted the Hardy Boys to win, so I remember myself not being too happy about the result because I like the Hardy Boys. But it is what it is. I moved on from that one.
As much as I hate to say this, I think Matt wrestled a little sloppy on that match.
But I love
So
Matt Hardy.
looking back at this, I guess it was a pretty good match, but I kind of wish the Hardy Boys would have another title run. So yeah, that's all I remember from watching this live.
Mhm.
So a count out win. Sasha Banks defeated Alexa Bliss. Raw Women's title match. So
Mhm.
I just wish it could have ended in a better way. I kind of don't like these count out wins.
I'm just glad that Sasha never got the belt that night.
Is that all we have to say, or do you have any more?
No, I got more to say than that. I mean, I do remember
All right,
watching
go
that
ahead.
match. We got that was the Alexa Bliss that I know and love. The true Alexa Bliss. The real Alexa Bliss. The Alexa Bliss I'd stick my cock in. But, you know, that match ending by count out. Honestly, all heels actually won. I think only 2 faces won that during that show. And 1 tweener, which was Brock Lesnar, but we're gonna get to that. But I mean, Sasha, after she gets counted out, beats Alexa Bliss down, gets on top of the announce table, throws Alexa off, jumps off the announce table, and that's it. And Sasha got a rematch because of Bayley's injury. So.
Yeah. Alright, so this was the Intercontinental Championship match. The Miz, who had the Miztourage that time. He defeated Dean Ambrose. Go ahead.
That was one of the most obvious matches and one of the most solid matches I've seen that night. I mean, don't prove me wrong. I think Miz winning was perfect. You know, the Miztourage kept getting themselves involved throughout the entire fight, getting their asses kicked. Thankfully, Maurice saves the Miz. At least she puts Miz's foot on the rope. It was just so obvious that they were just going to keep trying to help Miz win throughout the entire fight. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. So once that happens, of course, you know, Dean Ambrose has blood in his mouth. Miz hits him with the skull-crushing finale, and it's over. And that was right weeks before when Maurice almost bitch-slapped me at an event.
Mm-hmm. This, as you said there, it was obvious. I kind of knew the Miz was going to retain. So
it was extremely obvious that the Miz was going to win that match.
So it was not a bad match, but
I mean, it wasn't
was predictable.
bad. I mean, it was really solid, but
it was predictable.
The Miz was very obvious to win that match.
Yeah, so pretty much it was a predictable one.
Because they were not going to put the title back on Ambrose.
Yeah, it was a predictable one.
Yeah.
So now this one I thought was pretty good. Braun Strowman defeated Roman Reigns. Ambulance match.
Oh,
man. This was a brutal match.
Yeah.
So I must say Braun and Roman Reigns' rivalry was one of my favorite ones. So, you know,
yeah,
I enjoyed the match.
When you literally have Braun Strowman, the Braun Strowman who had
go ahead.
The Braun Strowman we believed in, literally was supposed to be out for 6 months, comes back in 6 weeks on an episode of Raw in an ambulance.
Yeah.
And you know, them two start beating the shit out of each other. Roman's getting thrown like a football throughout the entire match until they get to the corner. Roman tries as hard as he can to get Braun in the ambulance. And, of course, nothing works. Like, Roman was close to winning until that one time. Roman tries to spear him through the ambulance. And then Roman has an invisible slip and slide. Roman hits that spear. Braun misses. Through the ambulance.
He says, "I'm not finished with you."
Yeah, which... Oh, I thought I saw something there. Which Roman legit had an invisible slip and slide. Slides into the ambulance. Braun shuts the doors.
I'm not finished with you.
Yeah. But that's not how it ended, though. How it ended was Strowman gets out of the ambulance. Roman puts Braun in there. Roman drives off with the ambulance, backs up with full speed, and rams him into the tractor trailer. And Braun had no way out. And you know what the weird dumbest fact was? They literally were playing a match during that whole deal.
I have a feeling it might be the one we're about to get to.
It was like a minute match, so. And literally, when they were joined with the ambulance, they literally had the Dallas Fire Company. The Dallas Fire Company to, the Dallas Fire Company to get Braun out. And when Braun came out of that ambulance, he looked like Braun Strowman could not even get up to his feet. He had blood going down to his elbow, blood all over his face. I mean, I thought that was brutal.
Yeah, it was a brutal match. It was actually my favorite one.
Braun could have actually been Universal Champion that year.
Yeah, he looked like a monster that year.
Yeah.
One of their best monsters.
Until he buried his own self in like 2018 and 2019.
Yeah. Either way, the conclusion to this for myself is one of my favorite matches. So this next one, I think is what you were referring to when they were playing a match during the middle of the ambulance one. Heath Slater defeated Kurt Hawkins. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Literally, of course Heath Slater was going to win because Kurt Hawkins was on a hot losing streak.
Oh yeah, that's right. He had his losing streak that time.
I mean, I love them both. They're both actually in Impact Wrestling, so.
Okay, they're both in Impact.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I have been following their careers after they got released. So I was not paying attention to Impact.
There's my iced tea.
Oh. Alright, so this match sucked, that's it. So the main event. Your boy, Brock Lesnar.
I got 2 friend requests during this episode.
I guess you have to accept it.
No.
Brock Lesnar, which is your daddy, defeated
Daddy Brock.
defeated Samoa Joe.
Oh, wow. I didn't even hate that match. A lot of people, of course, thought Samoa Joe was going to win that match. Samoa Joe wins the Fatal 5-Way at Extreme Rules, which was probably one of the worst Extreme Rules of all time, which I'm not going to get into that. Literally, when the match started,
we will review that
before the
soon.
ring bells, when Paul Heyman announces Brock, Joe immediately kills Brock Lesnar, throws him through the barricade, through the announce table. Brock gets back up in a matter of seconds. I mean, Joe could have actually won that. I mean, it would have been nice to see Joe win that, but there was no chance in hell that he was going to beat Brock Lesnar. They could have had that match at WrestleMania 33. That could have been a match. But Samoa Joe with the Universal title could have happened, but, there was no way that he was going to get the belt off Lesnar. But with that, though, Brock, Samoa Joe puts, Brock in the cocaine clutch, 2 or 3 times. The bell rings. Samoa Joe pushes the ref away, kicks Brock in the nuts. Brock Lesnar gives Joe 3 German suplexes. Literally at the end of the match, Joe puts Brock to sleep. People are just screaming on the top of their lungs. And of course, Samoa Joe kicked, and before they even had their match, Samoa Joe was kicking Brock's ass. Like, Joe was legit kicking Brock's ass, like, Cocaina clutching him on the stage. But when Joe Cocaina clutched him that night, when Brock was so close to getting put to sleep, Brock gets up, F5, it's over. And you know what? I'm not even mad.
Yeah, Brock had the Universal title that time.
Yeah. With a 503-day reign.
Yes, that's right.
Which I hope he does that when he beats Roman at Crown Jewel.
He holds the title for over a year.
Yep. Oh, my camera.
Alright, for this
Whoever
match...
that was pushing down the camera. Hold on, I'm not done. And last thing, if y'all, all these fans chanting Joe's gonna kill ya, y'all's dumbasses were wrong. Y'all, Brock won, so. I mean, I'm not even mad.
Wyatt's
So
happy.
You want to get to your thoughts of the match and get to the ratings?
This, I guess, was an okay main event.
I mean,
Brock retaining. I kind of figured it was gonna happen. I remember myself during that time not liking his reign and wanting him to drop the title, but
I think I'm the reason you like Brock Lesnar.
yeah, you got me into Brock now.
I got you into Brock since 2019. What are you talking about?
I remember myself bashing his reign and wanting him to drop the title during that time.
Yeah. So you want to get to the ratings?
And so conclusion, a solid main event. I would rate this. If it wasn't for this 2-minute match and the end zone.
It was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, so Paige Slater defeated Kurt Hawkins. That match sucked, and Big Cass defeating Enzo. That match sucked. So if it wasn't for those two matches, I'll give this a 10. But
I mean, Slater and Hawkins both have charisma, and they both have a good personality. So.
That's true, but I'm talking about the match itself.
Oh yeah.
So if it wasn't for those two matches, it would have been 10. But I'll lead into a 9. You, what's your rating?
I thought it wasn't a bad show, and it wasn't the best show. I thought it was a solid show. It wasn't
50-50 for me.
bad. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right. So, thanks for watching our review on Great Balls of Fire. We hope you all enjoyed. Our next recordings are the draft review and Hell in Cell 2019 review, which I mentioned earlier. AJ's gonna be on both to rant. But after that, we'll get into more of the throwback pay-per-views, our Crown Jewel predictions and review, and the Moshcast, we're going to be getting into Metallica's Kill 'Em All album. After that, it is going to be Baby Metal's debut album. So that's coming up for the Moshcast, and Crashburn, I said what the next one's already. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our upcoming recordings. Wyatt.
Thank you all for another great episode here in the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. I had a lot of fun reviewing Great Balls of Fire. Thank you to Jason for having this episode happen. I know this was originally supposed to be Hell in a Cell 2019 tonight, but AJ is busy personal life, so I'm glad we got to review the pay-per-view I requested to do. So stay tuned for next week's episodes. Go follow every member of the podcast on their socials, which you'll see at the end of the episode. Subscribe to both podcasts, leave a comment, leave a like, give us what you thought about the pay-per-view, and please show some love. Botched.
Botched.
But yeah, before my goat here. I want you all to show support to every indie wrestling promotion out there. And if you can't afford to go to a wrestling event, indie wrestling is bad. Indie wrestling shows are badass. Just remember that.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we're all done here.
Yes, have a great weekend, everybody.
See you for the draft review.
Have a great October. Have a great October. Bye.
We'll see you for the draft review.
Crush and blast!